Good morning, St. Andrews. It's Wednesday morning, June 15th, time for our weekly Chancel Chat. I'd like to begin our conversation this morning by simply acknowledging the terrible tragedy that took place early on Sunday morning in Orlando, Florida. A terrible illustration of violence and hatred against innocent victims. The most devastating mass shooting in the history of the United States of America. Earlier this morning, I sent to every member of the parish a link to our bishop, Bishop Stokes' very thoughtful and I think inspired response to this terrible tragedy. I'd like to read just a couple of lines from the end of his statement. Bishop Stokes wrote, "Hatred in any form is anathema to Christian sensibility. Jesus said, 'You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself.' These were not suggestions," Bishop Stokes wrote. "They were commandments. May we all do the disciplined and difficult work of living into these commandments as we continue to pray for the victims of the Orlando shooting, their families and loved ones, and carry out God's mission and ministry of reconciliation in the world as we are called to do." And so I would encourage every member of St. Andrews to read Bishop Stokes' statement and to continue to pray for the victims and for their families, and for an end to this senseless violence and hatred that seems to permeate our society in this day. Looking ahead to this weekend, on Saturday morning, June 18th at 7:30 a.m., our monthly men's breakfast. Now, we'll be meeting in a new venue this month, the Route 38 Diner. This is the old Hollybrook Diner, located at 1655 Route 38 in Mount Holly. Every man in the parish is cordially and enthusiastically welcome to participate in this monthly men's fellowship. So join us for breakfast on Saturday morning at 7:30 if you're able. And then at 10 o'clock, we'll be hosting the memorial service for Mr. Hal Bozarth. Hal is a member of St. Andrews and at one time served on the vestry. So it is our honor and privilege to host the memorial service for Hal and for his family. And then at 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, we will be hosting the wedding of Frank Marchese and John Emanuel. And as I mentioned in last week's Chancel Chat, I know John and Frank would be honored and delighted if you would attend and participate in the celebration of their marriage. Looking ahead then, on Sunday evening, June 26th, St. Andrews will be hosting a special prayer meeting that's being sponsored by the Rancocas Valley Clergy Association. A couple of months ago at our monthly meeting, we were talking about just the situation in our country, and this was, of course, before the shootings in Orlando, as we enter into what looks like is going to be a very contentious election period. And it was our joint decision to get together in unity to pray for our country. Well, in light of the events of Orlando, we're going to expand the focus of our meeting to include praying for the victims and their families and praying that an atmosphere of peace and an end to the violence and hatred that seems to permeate our country today. So the prayer meeting is open to the public, and we would encourage members who are interested to please join us as we pray for our country on Sunday evening, June 26th at 6 p.m. Chris Carroll, our parish administrator, will be leaving for a much-deserved vacation from June 23rd until June 30th, and we're looking for volunteers that would be willing to cover the office during her vacation. If you're interested, if you have a day or two that you could devote as an office volunteer, please give Chris a call and she'll fill you in on all the details. My vacation schedule is well established, has been for several months, but I'd like to share it with you this morning. Susan and I will be leaving on Sunday evening, July 10th, for a trip to Spain. We're going to be participating in the Way of St. James, which is an ancient Christian pilgrimage that has been going on for more than 1,000 years. We did this 2 years ago, and this year we're returning, and we're taking 4 other Episcopalians from New Jersey, 2 of them clergy, and we'll be walking the last 115 kilometers of the Way of St. James, culminating in at the wonderful Cathedral of St. James in Santiago. And then we'll leave from Spain and spend a couple of days in Paris before we return home on Friday, July 22nd. And I will be preaching and presiding on Saturday evening at the 23rd, and of course Sunday morning, the 24th of July. And then on Friday, August 5th, we'll leave for our family vacation on Cliff Island, which is an island in Casco Bay, Maine. Now, we've been doing this for many, many years, more than 30 years, and we rent a house there on Cliff Island, and we just relax and play some tennis and watch the sunset and eat lobster, and it's a wonderful time of rest and renewal and refreshment. So from August 5th through August 12th, we'll be on Cliff Island. Our gospel reading for this coming Sunday, which is the 5th Sunday after Pentecost, is taken from the 8th chapter of the Gospel of Luke, and it's a wonderful story of healing and restoration of a man who is afflicted with a mental illness. And it's a beautiful story of Jesus disarming compassion as he ministers to and helps this man whose life has been devastated by mental illness. So we'll be taking a careful look at that in our homily for this weekend. That's about all I have for today. I wish you and your family a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk again next week. Thank you.